So here we are, week 4, Web Publishing 1, spring 2012 at Tri-C. And we're going to do a little bit of site organization now that we've got a few files and we're starting to develop a small website. And as you look at it, so here's my folder that has all the files in it. It's just called My Website. And in it there, at this time, are 4 files. So you might think, well, there's no point in organizing it any further. That's not very many files. And you're right. At this point, we could leave it like it is, and it would be perfectly fine. But what happens as you develop a website is you have categories that you start to add more and more information into. And as these files start to add up, it gets to be harder and harder for you to find what you need when you're going to work on it. Sort of like if you look over here, you can see trying to find any given item out of this whole list of stuff would be a little difficult. So even though in the beginning you don't need subfolders or subdirectories, they're sometimes called, I'm going to show you how to do them and ask that you start using them with your site, because this is ultimately the way that a website has to be organized. The computer doesn't really care if you have it organized as long as everything is accurate. You could keep all of the files. You could have 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 files all in a list here with no subdivisions, and the computer would be perfectly okay with that. But human beings have a tough time dealing with large numbers of items. It makes it much easier if they're organized in some way. So let me just show you what I mean. It's probably going to be easier just to show you rather than talk about it. So right now we have our index page. Here it is. Let me just open it up to remind you what it looks like. And this is the one right from the book. This has got no personal information added, but it looks like this. So we now have links that go there, there, there. So all the links are working. And the links are very simple. The href, or the hypertext reference, to go to the index is simply index.html. Because in our organization, let me get that up there, in our site organization, all these things are all in the same place. They're all just loose there. You can see them all, and so you just list in your path. This is called a path name, href. This is the path to the file. And so the path to the file about.html is just about.html. All right, so now we're going to make a change, and it's going to affect that path name, and this is what you need to learn out of this particular lesson. So what I'm going to do is right now I have an index page, which is the home page, and then I have 2 secondary pages. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Pages. And in this folder, I'm going to put every page of my website except for the index page. So contact goes in there, and about goes in there. And you can see they're inside that folder. So now we have the index file out by itself. We have a pages folder with the 2 pages in it. And then eventually we're going to add an images folder to start collecting our images. But let's look at what happened right now that I put the pages into a folder. In fact, if you look at this, here's the path name that we've given it previously. Do you think it's going to work anymore? Because we said to find the About folder, just go to page, just go to about.html. To find contact, just go to contact.html. But we've changed it. Those are now inside of a folder called Pages. So, just so that you see what I mean, if I reload the page now that I've made those changes, About, which worked a minute ago, doesn't work, and Contact Us, that worked a minute ago, doesn't work. But here's something interesting. Let me point this out, and we'll talk about why it... oh, I can't point it out. Never mind. We'll talk about that another time. All right, so we've got 2. These are called broken links. So we now have 2 broken links. So we need to fix them. This one is not working, and this one is not working. So what do we have to change? Well, let's go back and look at how these are now set up and where they are. We are now currently on the index page, that's this right here, and we're trying to get to these pages inside this folder. So it's just as if we were giving someone directions as how to find something in the house. We used to have all of our books laying on a table, and so you could just say to somebody, go over and pick up that book. Well, now we've put some of the books inside of a box, and we've labeled that box pages. So you would say to the person now, go to that box pages and go inside of it and look for the book that you're looking for. So same thing here on the website. So this path name that used to simply say about now gets changed. Now it says pages/about. And what this means is go to the pages folder, go into it, that's what the slash signifies, and look for that file about that HTML. All right, so if we save this, go back, reload it, about works fine. Oh, but home doesn't work. We're going to have to deal with that later. Contact us. When we're on the about page, we can go to contact. When we're in the contact page, we can go to about. But when we try to go back home, it doesn't work. We have a few other things to sort out. All right, well, let me just finish this up because both the contact page and the about page are in the pages folder. So the path name becomes this. And remember, I'm making this change on the index page. So when we're on the index page, the new path name to get to about is pages/about. New path name to get to contact is contact/about. All right, so what happens when we go to the contact page? So now I'm on the contact page. Well, let me go to the about page since let's kind of keep it in order. I'm going to go to the about page, and this is what it looks like. And let me open it up in the browser. There it is. You can see we're on about. And as I said, the link to contact works, and from contact to about, those work, but the link back home doesn't. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out what this means. So let me show you again how the files are set up. Now, let's open up Pages. These two files are both together in there. In effect, they can see each other. So what that means is that that original path name we had in place that looked like this, about and contact, this path name still works just fine. But to get back to index, it doesn't work anymore. And in order to understand how this works, here's what I'm going to suggest you do. You have to think like a browser. So the browser is actually just following your orders to find these files and show them. And the browser is actually sometimes called a user agent. So it's just your agent, it's doing what you ask. So if you can put yourself in the place of the browser, then you can probably understand how this works. So when we're here displaying the index page, and you ask go to the home page, or I'm sorry, go to the about page, the path name has to say pages, because that's the first thing we have to do, /about. And then that'll work. So as the user agent, we look, we see the folder pages, and the path name says go inside that, and we do that, no problem. Now, what about when we're inside that folder and we're displaying the page called About? Again, think about this as if you're the browser. We want to go back to the index page. We look around. We don't see the index page. It's not in this folder, so we can't find it. So we have to give our agent some instructions as to how to find the index page. And remember, it's back here outside of the folder. So there's a special command that's used in HTML to tell the browser, look outside of the folder you're in, or get outside of the folder you're in. So we want the browser to look outside of this folder and see if it can see index. And so here's how we do that. Here in the code, in the path name, we put ... And the two dots mean get out of the folder that you're in, whatever folder it is. And so we're on the About page. We want to get out, which is inside the Pages folder, remember. We're on the About page, it's inside the Pages folder. We want to get out of that folder, and lo and behold, there's the index page. And so now the path is going to work. So if I save that and reload About with our new path name, you'll see that it works just fine. All right. So now Contact Us, we still have to make the same change on that, which is when we're on the contact page, let's open that one up. Here it is. About, that link works just fine, but to get to the index page, we have to tell the browser, look outside of the folder you're in, so ... and then look for the index page. So if I save that, reload it, boom, we're on the contact page now, and now that works. Okay, so far so good. All right, we've got one more little thing to do, and then I'd like you to try this on your own. Let's go back to our original website. So we've put every page except for the index. In the structure for a website, the index always remains by itself, not in any other folder. So just like this. Now we've got one image here, but sooner or later we're going to have lots of images because images are fun. So I'm going to make another new folder, and I'm going to call this one Images, and I'm going to put the image inside the Images folder. That should be no surprise to you. So what do you think that's going to do now to that image that used to be on the home page or the index page? Well, if you guessed it's probably going to make it not work, you did exactly right. So here we are. I'm back on the index page, and let's look at it in the browser and see what we have now. All right, there used to be, if you remember, a nice blue scuba related picture here, and now what we're seeing, a circle of divers practice their skills. Well, what's that? If we look back here, that's the alt text, a circle of diver practice their skills. So when the image doesn't show up, we see the alt text, which is exactly how it should work. But what we'd really like is to get that image back there where it belongs. And so maybe if you look at what we did, you can figure this out. So we are now on the index page. Remember, we're the user agent. We're looking around. We're trying to find an image called diverscircle.jpg. We can't find it because it's now inside of here, Images folder. So our path name has to say that. Has to say go to the Images folder and look inside of it. So down here, image source equal, we have to add images / diverscircle. Let me save that and reload the page. And, well, let's see, reload the page. There we go. And there it is. So what we've done in this tutorial is we've put some files inside of folders, and then we've modified the path names in our original documents so that they now work again correctly, because once we put things inside the folders, those paths are broken because they no longer are accurate. So try this with your own site. Set up a images folder and put all your images in it, and a pages folder and put all the pages in it. So give that a try and see what happens. Oh, by the way, just in case you're wondering, here's how it works. If we were to put another folder inside here, let me just say that I decided I needed more folders because it's getting more and more complicated. And this is going to be, let's say, old images, ones I'm not using anymore. rather old pages that I'm not using anymore. And I put the About page into there because it's an old one, I'm not using it. So now, if you look at what we have, our path name from the index page is going to be pages/old/about, right? So let's try that. Save it. Oops, sorry, saved the wrong thing. Let me get rid of that. Let's go back here. And what I wanted to do was just reload this and show you that now About doesn't work any longer because remember I put it into another folder. And so we have to go back here, change this to, so we have to go to the Pages folder because it's inside there, but then we put it in another folder called Old. So Pages, Old, About. Save that. Let's go back and reload that page with the new path name, and now we click on About and it's perfect again. But as you might have imagined, that link back to index doesn't work because we're now in another folder. So how do we fix that? Real simple. Let's go to About. Remember when we're inside that one folder we had to do .. to get out of that folder and find the index? Well, now we're in two folders. So we have to do .. Get out of the first folder, get out of the second folder, and find the file called index. Save that. Let me just show you that it's going to work. Let's see, we're going to the About page. There we are. And now we want to try going back home. And there we are. Okay, and that's the process. And no matter how many folders you have, you can be 2 or 3 or 4 or 100 folders deep. You would just either add folder names going in one direction or .. going out of the folders to find things. All right, give it a try. See how it goes.